two very important definitions that go along with each of these. An individual one of these things will allow us to identify where the brown eye versus blue eye is. Will any of their kids have blue eyes? That's today on High Peak Education. Traits, reproduction, those are two words that are closely linked to genetics. Are we focused only on the external things that we see in other organisms, or are we also focused on the internal processes that get us there? Yeah, both. So there's this notion that we have the internal codes, that is, letters that signal the genetics, but then there's the external features that express themselves. So even though the external features are more easily identified because you can just see them, the internal stuff, what really kind of explains the situation in genetics. Between these two, the internal codes or letters and external features, there's two very important definitions that go along with each of these. DNA is a code of genes, but that's more of like a chemical code. But when I say the internal codes, one common example when we first learned genetics is like eye color. So brown versus blue eyes. So when it comes to brown versus blue eyes, the internal codes are going to be how we keep track of what a person has in terms of their genes, and then what their kids could have in terms of brown and blue eyes. That internal code is called the what. So the genotype, for example, if we did brown eyes versus blue eyes, so I'm going to code it as brown, but also capital B. Whereas blue eyes, I'm going to code that as lowercase b. But then external features, that's going to be known not as genotype, but as phenotype. The phenotype is going to be like saying Jane has brown eyes, or say John has blue eyes. Which, by the way, genotype definitely has to do with DNA. An individual one of these things will allow us to identify where the brown eye versus blue eye is. Hey, thanks for checking out High Peak Education today. Would you do us a favor and like, subscribe, comment, and share this video? It really helps us to grow the channel, extend our reach, and it helps us to make more content like this to help you even more. Thanks for your support. Hope you're enjoying it. Let's get back to the video. If I make the Punnett square and I put brown eyes up here, and then brown eyes there, but suppose I put blue eyes here. What does the capital letter versus the lowercase letter?
The uppercase is dominant and the lowercase is recessive.
Nicely done. If the top part is the father, and the rows, that's the left-hand side, is the mother, then the father is going to donate possibility of brown and or blue, whereas it looks like the mother is only going to donate brown. Will any of their kids have blue eyes? Yeah, and why is that? All genotypes have at least one dominant, so we have no possible kids with blue eyes. So consider the mother here. So she's got two dominant brown eyes. If she's got two on the dominant on the brown eyes, is she homogeneous or heterogeneous?
Homogeneous.
So in other words, homo, that prefix means same. Whereas if we look at the father, is he going to be homogeneous or heterogeneous? Heterogeneous. If I'm going to have kids that possibly have blue eyes, is it possible for them both to be homogeneous with brown eyes? Let me also be clear. The mother here is homogeneous dominant, so homogeneous recessive would be lowercase b, lowercase b. If they're both homogeneous dominant, the father and the mother, you're going to have any blue-eyed kids. Not possible. So, mother needs to at least have one possible heterogeneous part, like a lowercase b. By the way, even though the father in the lower left part of the Punnett square donated the capital B, he also gets put first, even though he's typically the one on the right. What's the probability that they have a blue-eyed child?
25%.
Nicely done. Next thing is when this is coming together. So in other words, when we are donating from the father and donating from the mother, what do we call this actual code? But in general, the large group of all the letter codes. So alleles, does that sound familiar? So all the lettered codes for the single letters are going to be the alleles. So it's just the possible gene to come together in the combination.